This is me trying to do Watanabe combo. Now you'll see. Now you'll see what's going on. Hold up. Ah! How does it look on that end? It must have so wild just doing this. What's going on, YouTube? Back at it again, take two. Today I'm gonna be covering over Unk. He's our new S rank fire tank, replacing Nanomech. Nanomech is taking hiatus. Rest in peace, Nanomech. He's our new quote-unquote fire tank, but he's more of an attacker since he does so much damage. We're gonna show him how he works and what you should do in terms of rotations and his pull value and what you should build towards, all that good stuff. So he gains bullet stack from 3-orb pings. So if I do this 3-orb ping here, bullet stack. If I do this 3-orb ping here, bullet stack. And he can max out at 3. You use his ult to enter his form, and that'll convert all of his existing orbs into red orbs, as you can see right here. If you use a basic attack in this ult form, it'll get this blaze orb on the right here, this X orb. So we had 3 bullet stacks. So we'll have 3 blaze orbs. And then using these blaze orbs, we can build ultimate stacks. And then one thing to note is after you use the ultimate, you have the missiles firing down. So if you use Watanabe's 4-piece signature set, it'll provide off-field fire shred for the team. But that's basically how Watanabe works at a base level. So now we'll go over his core rotation. So I'll first do this pretty slowly, and then I'll do it quickly. It's gonna be hard for me to do it slowly just because I'm used to doing it fast. It's kind of a muscle memory thing. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start on Live Imperia, swap in, use your ult, basic attack once to get the blaze orb, and then we'll do a 3-orb ping, and then we'll hold dodge and basic attack, and that'll give us these blaze orbs and proc matrix. Use ultimate with QTEs, and then if you do it quick enough, you'll still have matrix here, but you'll do a 3-orb ping, and then your ult again, and then you want to build the bullet stacks. So 3-orb ping, basic attack, 3-orb ping, basic attack, until you get enough blaze orbs to do his finisher ultimate a second time. And then usually after this, you usually swap off. So you usually swap off to someone like Lee. And then that's this rotation. So now I'll do it quicker, so hopefully you can follow. And this will be kind of more representative of what you would normally play him as. Swap, ult, basic 3-orb ping, hold dodge, basic attack, proc the matrix, use your ult. Before matrix runs out, grab it, grab that matrix orb, use your ult. So that's a pretty decent rotation now. And then again, if you want, you could do a 3rd rotation, because the grapple cooldown is usually back here. So sometimes you can pull it off. But he really can't go past, realistically can't really go past 3. He'll start running out of orbs here. So he's out of orbs here, and he would need to build all that back up again. So usually 2 rotations, but you can go for 3 if you want. And yeah, that's basically how you run Watanabe. His grapple into basic attack that procs his matrix, you can do that every other rotation. So that's rotation 1, rotation 3, rotation 5. But you can't spam it like every rotation. It'll take some time to get used to it, but that's basically his normal rotation. It takes practice and muscle memory. He has an alternate move, which you never really use, but it exists, I guess. So if you're in your ult form, you have 3 bullet stacks and you hold basic, he does this glide attack, but realistically it doesn't do enough damage to justify using it, but it exists, I guess, if you want a style point. Next up, we have his skills and rank recommendations. So his S5 is basically proccing QTEs on his blaze orbs, which is nice, it's pretty decent, pretty standard. His double S is needed for full functionality, so if you use 3 of the ultimate stacks, he'll have enough energy to ult, so minimum you should try to get him double S, just so he can rotate smoothly. Double S3 gives him more fire shred, which is actually pretty decent for a double S3, but it's not absolutely needed. Like, you're not going to die not having that extra 10% fire shred, but it is like nice for dolphins if you want to kind of splurge out a little bit more on Watanabe. But do note we have another S rank coming, another full cost S rank coming next patch. Triple S is basically giving him 6 stacks maximum instead of the 3 stacks maximum, as well as reducing the swap cooldown between the units, which seems like a big deal, but it's really not, because after Liv gets her leap, you don't really feel it. But for example here, you can see how he's got 6 stacks at the he's got 6 stacks here instead of the 3 normally. So overall, swap cooldown reduction, which is pretty nice, but it's less relevant once Liv gets her leap. More ultimate stacks, up to 6. He gets stacks faster when he procs the grapple basic attack, the hold dodge basic attack, and he gets more shred. Overall, it's really good for spenders. It's a pretty solid stopping point for spenders, but it's not like every other triple S rank. It's not necessary. So that'll do for his rank recommendations. Basically, minimum double S3 is nice, triple S if you're a spender. For weapons, we have his 5-star and a 6-star. So his 5-star is actually pretty decent. You don't absolutely need it to get it to work, to get his kit to work. Basically, his kit is not locked behind a 6-star weapon. It's just slightly more inconvenient and less damage. So when I do, so this is with a 5-star weapon. When I do the same rotation, so do this, then I proc Matrix here. So you'll see how I got 2 blaze orbs there, but now I'm out of orbs. So in order to get that last blaze orb, I need to basic attack a lot more, and then now I have enough to use the ult, the second ult. So the second rotation is basically a lot harder to pull off with a 5-star weapon. You just have to basic attack a bit more to get it. But his kit technically still does work. So especially if you can't afford the 6-star weapon, if you are trying to save for Chu next patch as another S rank, he won't absolutely like crumble using only the 5-star weapon. But the 6-star weapon does make it a lot nicer to secure that second rotation and have it more consistent, as well as doing more damage. So good news for people who are too broke to pull 2 S ranks, 2 S ranks with 2 S rank or 6-star weapons in a row. As you can see here, I have a lot more red orbs to work with, so I don't really have to basic attack with the second ult rotation here. I have enough. So he doesn't actually need deadline timing, so he doesn't need any resonance at all, but if you do have extra resonance, first get the shred because he's a tank, and then you can work to maybe Matrix Lightning or deadline if he needs more than 3 rotations, which he doesn't need right now, but he may in the future with Void Luna or Lucia Pyro Oath. Let's talk about builds. So first of all, we have his 4-piece signature set. Always going to be running this, especially since the effect has fire resist shred if it gets hit by the missiles after using his ultimate, so always equip this. As for the 2-piece set, 2-piece Kadi is usually the way to go, especially since his ult does so much damage and he's the main damage for the team. You want to get to his ult as quickly as possible. You want to harmonize. 4-piece Kadi also works for harmonization. And then you want to resonate red orb for the top row, not plus 15 attack, because all of his blaze orb damage, that X orb, is under his red orb. So you have to have red orb for the top row. And then for the bottom row resonance is what you want, because his ultimate does a good amount of damage. You could also run 4-piece Shakespeare as well. Instead of 2-piece Kadi, you can run 4-piece Shakespeare. That will be a little bit more orb hungry, but and you'll need deadline timing if you run 4-piece Shakespeare, but it is an option, and it'll give more shred. But I would say for the most part, 2-piece Kadi or 4-piece Kadi if you harmonize is pretty good, and what you mostly run for now. As for Hypertune, Hypertune bottom row, so slots 4, 5, and 6, and then Hypertune slots 1, 2, and 3 afterwards. Infinitas Awaken, once you have fully Hypertune, I would go yellow or blue, because he doesn't get the red orb at the beginning of the fight. This will be the new fire team. So we'll have Watanabe on his DPS sets. Liv could run 4-piece Da Vinci, 2-piece Einstein. If you're going to be using her more on field, so for example in game modes like Warzone or whatever, when she has to swap in, you can still run her main set, her main DPS set. So her 2-piece Elizabeth, I think, and 2-piece Cotty. You can be running this. Otherwise, what you can do, so for Pain Cage, you could be running 4-piece Guinevere, 2-piece Gloria, and if you have not a mech or you have Nanami Pulse, so whichever one of the fire Nanamis, Nanamech or Pulse, you can run them on the 4-piece Da Vinci, because a lot of time in Pain Cage, you'll just clear everything so fast with Watanabe that you won't need to swap to Lee. So for example, let's go into a Pain Cage run real quick and kind of demonstrate this a bit. So we'll grab Nanamech. Basically, you have to try to shoot out the blue orb missiles and then swap into Watanabe. So we'll do this. This damage. Then... Sorry, a little too trigger happy. A little too trigger happy. But, yeah. You basically end up... If you end up doing the rotation fast enough, it clears. Pulse also works the same. Pulse, you actually don't need to fire out the missiles. Just use the QTE. That's basically Pain Cage. So, like, you wouldn't ever need Lee in that situation, right? But, for example, if you do need Lee for, like, a longer rotation, because Watanabe will run out of orbs. So if you use him for more than 3 rotations, usually he's just straight up out of orbs and you have to swap. If that's the case, then you just run her DPS set here, and then you'll run Lee, Hyper Lee. My Hyper Lee, I'm running 4-piece signature set and then 4-piece Shakespeare. I'm running 4-piece Shakespeare because he's harmonized. Otherwise, if he's double S, you run 2-piece Cotty. And yeah, that's basically it for the meta team. If you don't have Liv Imperia, you can run any support. So you can run like Isla as the amplifier, or you can just run any support. I really don't like using Sophia, man. Like, oh god, cringe, dies of cringe. But you can run any amplifier or support. Like Feral 21 works as well, or just any like Vera Rosen or something like that also works for the healer slot. If you don't have Lee, you can run the Leap Lee. So Leap Lee Pale Fire, decent alternative. Or you can run Blackrock Shooter if you pull for Blackrock Shooter. That also technically works as well. Either or. But that'll do for his teams. Pretty straightforward. Usually you want the QTE holder on the red slot, obviously, because Watanabe likes proccing the red orbs. So having Liv Amp or whatever your support is on the red slot is ideal. Watanabe is leader because he's the main damage dealer. And yeah, that pretty much covers teams. A Cub is pretty decent, but not necessary. If you have the funds to pull for it, go ahead. It's pretty strong, especially for the Blaze Orb buff. But otherwise, you can always pick it up later. And overall, for the pull and build recommendations, we have Chu coming up next patch. So she's going to be our new base S rank plume replacement, which means that we will have no breathing room between her release and Watanabe. It'll be Watanabe right into her. So if you can't afford Watanabe and you haven't used the free S-Rank selector from the Lamia patch, you could choose to pull Watanabe during Luna Void's patch, which is about 3 patches from now. And then by that time, you can just use Nanamech in the meantime if you have Nanamech or Nanami Pulse. But he is really strong, so if you do have the funds, I do recommend picking him up. But it is kind of a tight spot for free-to-play players. But that would be like kind of my recommendation. He'll be used in the Void team also. So for example, if we go to the Void team here, Leap, Liv Imperia, and Watanabe will be used with the new Luna for the Void team. So he'll be an investment that you'll need eventually, just because it's just the best team for Luna. But in terms of priority, grab him first, then double S, then his weapon, his 6-star weapon, and then his pet. And And yeah, that's pretty much Unk. He's the new DPS now. Lee is now sub DPS. So for example, if I can do a fire Warzone here to kind of demonstrate a little bit on how you would normally rotate. I have leaped Liv Impura here, so her signature set is not really necessary, which she'll get leaped in about 2 patches from now. And yeah, we'll see kind of like the basic rotation. So swap in, ult. So that's gonna kill that. We're gonna use the grapple. And then we're gonna use the ult. So Watanabe can clear multiple waves just by himself. Man is cracked. So again, trying to dodge cancel a little bit here. And usually you swap here, so we'll go into Lee, do Lee jumping things. And then we'll swap to Liv. My Liv will have a faster rotation because she's leaped. So normally here, you don't have the time. You just swap over back to Watanabe. You don't use Liv's ult. But once Liv is leaped, you have more time to use your ult. So you can ult on Liv sometimes, but not all the time until she gets leaped. Do this, we'll wipe that. A little bit too slow to catch the Matrix there, but it is what it is. Again, trying to dodge cancel the animation. That ult in. Nice. Now we'll swap back to Hyper Lee, and then yeah, we basically just repeat this. I'm doing 1 extra orb here on Lee because he's still +3 with Shakespeare, so he doesn't have the Caudy energy. And that also is a triple S Imperia from the extra orbs. But it is achievable once she gets her leap. She'll be in the voucher shop. Yeah, maybe this run will be better than the last one. We'll see. What? Oh my god. Alpha just time stopped me, man. I was like, what just happened? Okay, this run might be more scuffed then. Got outplayed. And yeah, maybe I can start answering some questions while I'm in iframe. And for Watanabe's rotation, it's like if you do like 2 3-orb pings and then use your ult instead of like using your ult and then doing a 3-orb ping, like it doesn't matter that much in terms of like what order you do the rotations. The main thing is getting his stacks. That's the main thing. You want to be trying to grab his stacks. Let's see if we can try to squeeze out maybe 1 more rotation. Not quite. But yeah. That's Unk. Commit crimes, chat. Oh, I think one other thing is like some people were asking if he's like Gen 3 or Gen 2.5. It honestly doesn't really matter. He's more of like a 2.5. I know some people were kind of stressing about the triple S. Triple S don't really need. People might be baited by saying, oh, you know, the swap cooldown is way faster because of triple S, and he gets the 6 stacks and whatever. It's a strong upgrade, but it's not like absolutely necessary for the this fire team to function. They can rotate completely fine without the triple S buff, without the triple S cooldown thing. And especially after the live leap, the 3 extra seconds or like the decreased swap cooldown, it doesn't really matter that much. Let me know what you guys think of this. If you guys want to see the guides early and have your questions answered live, then join us on Twitch. Join Twitch chat. You know, we can get the YouTube frogs in here. I hope this helped you guys understand Unk, and good luck on your pulls, because we will need it. God. I don't know why they put 2 S-rings back to back like that. That's nasty. But it is what it is. But don't sleep on Unk, man. Don't sleep on him.